Hey there everyone, welcome to my channel. Today, it's time for a trip on our favorite rocket ship. Not really. A trip down memory lane. To the good old days of the common desktop environment, which, if you're familiar with it, used to be quite popular back in the Unix days. The flick of the wrist. And someone decided to make it come back to life on pretty much any modern Linux with the not so common desktop environment, which is a reskin, but it's so much more than just a reskin. It's an entire vibe, it's an entire state of mind, and it's really great. I just thought I should give it a go. I didn't really expect much. I was like, sure, it does look interesting, so why not? Let's give it a go. And it does turn out that it's just so much more than just a reskin, that it just deserves an entire video showcasing some of its quirks. It's just great. Once I press enter, you guys are about to get mind blown. Let's go. Yeah, boy, look at that. Doesn't that scream 93, 94? Look at the colors. Look at the icons. And it's Ubuntu. It's not Unix. I mean, in a way it is Unix, but you get a point. Let's make it full screen, shall we? Look at that. That's all the cores, which is probably not a thing back in the day. One core was a lot already, let alone 16, but it's pretty cool though. Look at that. And it even has the rig's name up there, Toaster. Amazing. Let's start by going on the settings, which should be found under application settings, desktop settings, desktop settings. And as you can see, Ubuntu, no catch there in that regard. It's the very same Ubuntu setup settings screen, but different with the 90s clothing. Let's call it that. You know, looks great, very cool, very interesting way to convey the 90s vibe there. Very nice interpretation, I would say. But now let's get to the real settings. Let's talk about actually customizing this interface, the not so common desktop environment, to actually suit your own personal liking in a way. And it's highly customizable. It might not seem like, yeah, first glance, but it's actually super customizable. It's very unique, and it's very unlikely that someone running the same not so common desktop environment is going to have the same desktop as you, because it's insanely customizable. There's just so much, which I'm going to demonstrate, obviously. You click up here, you go on Style Manager, and look at that. So you have, obviously, you can change the font, backdrop, keyboard, mouse, all the stuff you're used to. Startup, power, desk, the, 4 desktops, which, Microsoft brought on Vista, and Unix had since the 90s. That's actually crazy. Just stating that, they had that for a while now, and it was such a novelty. Once it came out on Vista, as if they had actually made it. They were the original creators of the whole thing. Anyway, if you click here on color, you can see we do have a bunch of different presets, which will change the overall look and feel. It's like the Android 12 color palettes, because you can actually change just about everything, and it will. I mean, there's definitely one setting that's gonna just suit your preferences, whatever you like. There's something for everyone here. There's just so much going on. Look at the camouflage. It just it doesn't end. It's a never-ending list, and not only doesn't end, like there's so much going on here, you can still customize it yourself. So if you want to change the colors a little bit, make it first, you can. And the fact that that's the thing. It's actually crazy. Like, there's so much going on for just, I mean, it's like I said, it's more than just reskin. It's a whole state of mind. This thing is crazy. Like, it's a way to get yourself stuck in the 90s for good. And it's a sleeper in a way, because, you know, it's not the true concept of sleeper. But if someone stares at the screen and you're going to think, hey, you're running a virtual machine, you're using, I mean, not that I'm not running a VM right now, but you get a point. People would think that must be an emulator or something. You're running Unix, but it's actually a modern Linux, just rocking a very cool OG skin, which is highly customizable, so you can make it look the way you want. It's a crazy amount of freedom, and it's just so perfectly. It doesn't have loose ends. You know, you get the whole package. You install it right away. You get the thing right off the bat working as you would expect it to work. No catch. Absolutely no catch. I was using Alpine. Yeah, there we go. Back to what I was rocking. As you can tell, it's very much. Oh, it's refreshing because I applied the skin, and then because I had it on, it was not full screen, so the I think the VMware guest thingy just doesn't really play nicely with this. I mean, it's meant for actual, you know, bare metal, so it probably doesn't play very nicely with VMware tools. But once I apply the color again, it went back to the place where it should be, the dock, and it, obviously you can move it around. It's fully customizable as pretty much everything else. And see what else. Let's take a look at the file manager, shall we? As you can see, even the file manager is also fully customized with the icons that take you right back to the 90s. Very cool, very different, and it's just as cumbersome as the old CDE, as you can tell. It's quite the same experience. So if you want to revive the struggle, the pain, you can. I mean, for some it was not really a struggle, it was fun. It's a very, compared to what you had back in the day, it was like peak computing compared to like Windows 3 111. It was actually peak computing, and it did demand a lot more brain cells chop rate. It was the real OS for men, and Windows was Windows, you know, as it has always been. Anyway, let's open a web browser, shall we? There's Firefox, there we go. So I want to show the GitHub page. Restore, yes, let's restore that. This is their GitHub page. Let me see if I can get a full screen without screwing up. Oh my god, it's different. The whole desktop experience is completely different, hence the struggle compared to Windows, compared to macOS, compared to average Linux nowadays. Like the shortcuts, the way the windows behave, it is not as you would expect it should be. Like if I click on the terminal window here, it won't take the foreground initially. It will stay on background until I click. Oh, never mind. Oh, yes, mine. You gotta. It has to be near the taskbar, and then yeah, that does make sense. Okay, and then you gotta right click it, and then it goes to the foreground, and you click back on it, and it goes to the background. Obviously, same applies to the Firefox window. It's different. It's a different concept. So at first, when you install it for the first time, you're gonna have a hard time getting used to that because it's completely different. But then again, that's just how it was back in the day. You know, it's not the skin being weird or anything. It's just how it was. It's a little trickier. It's a little harder chop rate. It was, we gotta remember that like it was early 90s. So we're talking about early implementations of graphical user interfaces. So they were still learning the way to make a very easy to use, a very friendly interface. So during that figuring out period, there's a lot, of throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks. And that was their attempt at that, I guess. They threw something at the wall, it didn't quite stick, although some people like it. It's still, and it was known as cumbersome back then, it's still known as a little hard to deal with. It's just a fact. But some people love it. And it's pretty cool because it brings out the whole vibe of the 90s. It deserves so much more love. It got 800 stars. It deserves more than that. Like, this thing is crazy good. It's a whole experience. It's a whole mood. It's a whole state of mind. You gotta really try it out. If you want to go into like a very 90s-ish trip, this is a must-have. Oh, something else I forgot to show. Let me just take this to background again. Applications. Where do I go again? Settings. Desktop settings. Where is it again? Screensaver. There you go. You can customize the screensavers as well, and you can also set up the times. So, like after 9 minutes, cycle after 6 minutes, you have changing screensavers, which is actually pretty cool to think about it. It's very nostalgic. Like their choice of backgrounds is just screensavers. I mean, it screams 90s right there. It's very well done. Really good job there. And the whole point is, it does bring an insane amount of 90s-ish to the mixture. It really does, and it's an entirely different desktop experience. It's not like any window manager. It's not like any graphical interface. It has its own quirks. It has its own ups and downs. It's tricky, hard to get used to, but once you actually get the hang of it, I assume it can actually be bearable. Should daily drive, though. Would I daily drive it? Probably not, but it's not because specifically because of it. It's not that I don't like it. It's that I use Windows for reasons. But if I were to main Linux, I would probably use something like that because it's cool. It's different. I like to be different. And, it just stands out. It's not like probably no one else in your friends group is going to be rocking the same thing. So it's just very unique, and it's an interesting style. And any way you look at it, it's just very, very unique. And the fact that it can change the colors and screensavers, just that amount, that freedom that we used to have in the 90s, not only with Unix itself, but also Windows. It's probably remember like all the different colors they can have on the windows and stuff. And it was just so much compared to nowadays. It really had a lot of character, which it doesn't have nearly as much now. But nonetheless, a very, very good job right there. Like they really nailed the spirit, the thing. And it works. It's not hard to install. Once you get the dependencies, once you run and configure and make install and restart, it's ready to go. There's no secret, there's no catch. It just works right out of the box. I mean, not really right out of the box, because you can actually do a little bit of dependency fetching and stuff, but it's not really hard. Everything's listed very well. Let me see if we can. Did I close the browser? I don't remember if I closed it. I did close it, but so interface. Here we are. Oh, it's back. Okay. You have like a frequently asked questions with a lot. Like, they list all the dependencies, the way to actually install it, and if you download the zip, which is right here, you go on releases. They have documentation there as well. There's a MD file teaching you like every dependency, everything is listed. Not only that, they do list all the commands to every specific operating system. So whether you're rocking Ubuntu, if you're rocking Arch Linux, literally anything. I think there's even Drake Linux there. It's crazy. They got so much going on. It's like a good 10 different distros with the full guide. Like all the commands you're gonna put in, and you just copy and paste, and bingo, it installs. Simple as that. It's very friendly, very, very friendly. And once again, like all the dependencies are listed, so you know what you need. No surprises, no catch, no figuring out. You know, sometimes they don't list the full dependencies, and then you're like, oh, come on, it's not compiling. It's missing one single weird ass dependency that you cannot find anywhere. We need to be like that. Is there a case it do not be like that? It's a really, really good, really, it really does hold your hand, and I do appreciate the hand holding in this case, although not advisable because the current situation the world is going through. But still, the hand holding is more than welcome. It's very friendly, and if you're new to Linux, that's definitely a very good way to get your thing going, no problem. You want to rock the not so common desktop anymore. But anyway, I think that's it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. It's a little different from the stuff I make generally. So I would like to thank you guys for 1 million views. I'm really glad for all the support. The fact that you guys watch the stuff. It's been, some of you guys been all along for the bride since the very beginning. So I'm more than glad. You guys are awesome. And I have to give back, obviously. It's been hard to find stuff to make videos about, honestly. It's been really hard. I hit a point where I just cannot. I've been trying, but I just cannot find anything to make videos on it. Even when I do find stuff, it doesn't work out. It's been really tough. And the benchmark side of things, also put on the download because we're not really getting any major releases lately, so it's been hard. But I'm trying my hardest, and promise I'm gonna try and make a couple more videos until the next couple weeks, where I'm definitely gonna have stuff to cover. I cannot disclose it currently, but there's definitely stuff coming up. But during this meantime, I'm gonna try and fill the gap with some more stuff. And if you guys like the whole, desktop interface try out, maybe I could try more of that, because I'm currently during that phase of throwing stuff at the wall, see what sticks, like they were doing with graphical interfaces back in the 90s, so seeing what people would appreciate, what was actually friendly, and so on. And I'm still testing the waters in a way. I've always been testing the waters with my channel and seeing what people like, what people don't like, looking at the metrics. And it's kind of hard to gauge because it really does depend. It's very seasonal. It's weird. I cannot really tell for sure what you guys really want to see. So comments are also appreciated. So if you guys want to see more of this, or if you guys want to see something else completely different, like let's say gameplays, more benchmarks, retro gaming, I don't know, just feel free to voice your opinions. And with that being said, I guess it's time to say goodbye. It's fun, not CDE video. I really liked it. It really impressed me. At first, I was like, is it actually even worth installing? And then I decided to install it anyway, and I was blown away by just how much it packed. It's just such a little. It's like 50 megabytes, and it's insanely good. Like, it's a full experience right there. It's not just the skin. It's more than that. It brings the soul of the 90s with it. And they do that in such a nice fashion. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. You gotta try it out yourself. Because by looking at the video, I don't think you can quite measure how awesome it is. It's hard to tell at first glance. It even has the desktops, and look at that. It's all individual. So just like on modern multi-desktops, every single one of them is highly individual. That's crazy stuff, considering that was de facto standard in the 90s for the CDE. Not so impressive now in 2022, but back in the day, many moons ago, shit was crazy. Anyway, I guess that's about it. I've been saying that for quite a good 5 minutes now. But yeah, it's time to go. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you all in the next one. Bye-bye.